Hi, I'm Transtastic. My name's Luke, and this week we're talking about raising a trans child. I can't talk too loud, and this video is gonna be really quick because I'm currently away from home. I'm at a friend's house with like a group of friends, and so I can't really talk too long. Anyway, so raising a trans child. I see a lot that like when you're talking about raising a trans child, that you should ask lots of questions, and that like you should always be asking them what they want, like what pronouns they want to be used, and what name they want to go by, and like what the next steps are. Do they want to go on blockers? Do they want to go on hormone replacement therapy? Who do they want to tell? When do they want to tell? I would be careful. When someone comes out, you've been keeping the secret inside for such a long time, and I watched a video by Troye Sivan. I don't know if you know him, but he released a video recently called Coming Out Part 2 because he's gay, and he said the second day after coming out was really weird for him, and he felt like it had been a secret for so long, he'd been thinking about it, and even though his family's reaction was brilliant, he has like a really accepting and loving family, and he's never had any issue because of his sexuality, but he felt like this next day everyone was like thinking and talking about him, and he just felt like he was really put under the spotlight for the first couple days. And I feel the same way. When I came out, I felt like my parents were constantly asking me questions, and not even questions about what I want to do with my transition. Those questions weren't even asked. It was more like, how are you going to have sex? Like other questions, like just in general questions, like, oh, how do you want to tell everyone? Like, what do we call you? How do we tell your siblings? Like, it was just all happened so fast, and it was all right after I came out, and it was just all really overwhelming. So maybe give them some space, but also don't ignore the issue, because that's completely opposite. Like, find a balance, find a mid-level. Don't go treating them like Google, or not talking to them at all, because that's going to be really difficult for them to open up to you. And I think raising a child is all about communication. No matter who the child is, no matter who you are, communication is the only way to make raising a child work, because children are people too, and even though they're small and you might make decisions for them up to a certain point where they've got some understanding of what they want their life to be like, and they know themselves better than you do. So communication, keep open communication, make sure you're talking to each other, and that you respect them. You still should ask what they prefer, and you should still ask that, but give them time, give them space. That gives you time to adjust, that gives them time to adjust. As much as it's great that you go in full steam, some people get very overwhelmed by that. Like, I know I'm a very anxious person. I was stressed out, and when my parents started bombarding me with all these questions, I freaked out, and it was awful. And it was like 4 hours of intense questions directed at me, and I just could not handle that. It was like, I went to bed, I just fell straight asleep. I was emotionally exhausted. It was really not a good time. Make sure you don't make any decisions on their behalf, like when it comes to coming out to other people in your life, siblings, extended family. Make sure that they are completely on board with everything, and if they have a second to doubt that they don't want to come out to a particular group of people, respect their wishes, because there's probably a reason behind it. And on that, just because they don't want to come out with a rainbow flag or like a trans flag does not necessarily mean that they aren't trans or LGBT. My parents were very confused when I didn't want to come out to my extended family right away, because they were like, oh, but like, does that mean you're not sure? No, it's not that I'm not sure, it's just I'm really scared that my 96-year-old grandma will have a heart attack if I tell her that I'm trans. You just gotta respect that. It doesn't mean that they're confused, it just means that they've thought about, there's a reason behind it. Just give them respect, and that they know what's going on. Other ways to raise a trans child how you'd raise a normal child, you know? I don't want to be treated any differently to my brother. We're the same. And my parents are really good at that now. Like, at the start it was a bit iffy, but now I'm just the oldest son. That's how they want to be treated. They don't want to be treated like some special case. They want to just be raised how you would normally raise any other child. They just are any other child. I get why this is a topic, but at the same time, raising a trans child is like the same. It's just there are some things that you need to be more considerate about, and communication needs to be stronger in some cases. You need to know what they want, and they need to be able to tell you what they want. So communication needs to be a bit more open than it would like a cisgender heterosexual child, but at the same time, that raising a trans child is just raising a normal child. So I think that's what you need to remember, that raise your child how you would normally raise them. Don't raise them how you want them to be, or how they expected them to be. If they were assigned female at birth, don't raise them as a girl. Just raise them as a child, you know? Like, just raise them. It's very difficult for me to talk about this topic because I'm not trans myself. No, I'm not a parent myself, so I can't actually really answer this question because I've never raised a child, so I don't know what really comes into raising a child. But I assume that raising a trans child and raising a cis child would be very similar, if not the same. You've just got to be more open to communication about some things than you might have otherwise. So I think that's all I'm going to say about this video because I've been talking for too long and I've got to edit this, so goodbye. I will see you next Sunday. And I hope this is up on Saturday. If it's not, I apologize. It might be a little late, so bye.